It's become such a critical fire weather tool for us here in California and across the region. Neal, first of all, thanks for joining us. If you could talk a little more about how this Alert Wildfire Camera Network started to develop and what it is, how we're able to use it today.
Thank you for having me on today so we can speak to these camera systems. How did it evolve? That's a great question. So back in 2013 in the Tahoe region, we had early earthquake warning devices deployed around the lake. And we had extra bandwidth. We've built our own microwave network. So we're not tied to Verizon or AT&T. And we had sufficient bandwidth to pull out more information. So we said, why not put cameras on there? Cameras that pan, tilt, zoom, high definition, near infrared, so that we could catch fire earlier. And our system really isn't an early detection system. It's an early confirmation system. So here, just years ago, you'd get a 911 call at dispatch. You either had to send an engine or an airplane to verify if there was ignition and location. Now dispatch can move the cameras within seconds and confirm or reject the 911 call. So here, we're trying to fight fire in the incipient phase when we're on offense. Once these wind-driven events get too large, we're on defense and we have to start evacuating. So the cameras started out as part of a system for early earthquake warning, and they've now evolved into multi-sensor for all types of hazards.
And the network it's certainly grown in size and continues to expand outward. How is it from region to region? How are the sites chosen and selected?
So here we work with everyone in the state, and we work with counties. CAL FIRE is our lead agency, and we work with the county's first responders. We have programs that we can detect the view shed of new cameras. So we look for sites on mountaintops so that we can increase our view shed. These cameras can see 60 to 70 miles during the day, weather permitting, and about 100 to 120 miles at night with the near infrared. So here we look at the view sheds, we look at the topography, and we look at the distance between towers, because about 30 miles is, you don't want to go much further than that with a microwave. So here we build out mountaintops, we build out clusters really. And we build, like in Sonoma or Kern County, we get a cluster because the efficiency of the cameras and their functionality depends on whether you can triangulate. So when you see a fire on one camera, you move the adjacent camera and so on and so forth till you get a position, a latitude, longitude, which then you have that position now, and you can speak to first responders. Well, how many engines do you want to send? How are you going to marshal your resources? So it gives them real-time actionable data.
And it really has become such a critical tool. As you mentioned, it's sort of the first response and confirmation response. You know, nowadays the satellite technology often goes west. Heat signatures are detected. The satellite technology has gotten a lot better. Those things can find hot spots. Now, obviously over my shoulder is an example of a helicopter view of the car fire. And once something gets that large, obviously, those can be seen for many miles. But, you know, the key here, I think with the strength of Alert Wildfire Camera Network, especially at night, is that first response, being able to see not only how large this new potential fire is, but you see a lot about what's happening with the weather going on, interacting with it, don't you?
Yeah, so here, perfect example last year was the Kincaid fire, okay? And we were able to see it right away. And CAL FIRE at St. Helena Dispatch saw the fire. They saw how the smoke was bent over. They knew we were in for a big event. And so they could start thinking about evacuation and how they were going to sequence evacuation. And they moved over 170,000 people during a wind-driven event without injury or loss of life. So are these cameras the only tool? No. You mentioned satellites, aircraft. We need boots on the ground, our brave first responders, engines. We need all of this. And what's really nice is on the cameras, let's say you see a hot spot that's detected by the satellites. Satellites still have a lot of false detects, but you can move the camera and you can verify whether that detect is an ignition. And so having people loop into the process still of verifying and vetting one data type with another data type gives us more confidence about an ignition.
And of all the events, especially this year, we've had a lot of the cameras overrun by the fires themselves in the North Bay, Hennessy Fire, also the CZU complex fire through Bonnie Doon. Is there any data that you have seen since this network has gone out that has really been surprising to you, something that really stands out?
So one of the things that really is standing out to me is the rapid advance of these fires. The fuels are so tinder dry. And when we get single digit humidity, the amount of acres per hour, when we get into 4,000, 5,000 acres per hour and the spread of these fires and getting the message out, this is something that this fire behavior is now precedent. In these critical climates, okay, these climates that are extreme, there's no more unprecedented. We're seeing precedented fire behavior that is advancing much quicker and getting larger faster. So our first responders are really fighting fires on many fronts. And the cameras and other technologies that we can put the camera data on maps of roads and terrain so they can see where the fire is advancing fastest. Where is it threatening villages or neighborhoods or housing? How can we, use our people in the best manner to keep people safe, protect habitats and infrastructure? The one thing that's kind of a nice note is I've been surprised at the amount of wildlife we're seeing, especially the rebound. We see many condors. So the rebound of the condor, what a success story. Golden eagles just sitting on top of the cameras. And I say to my technicians, I say, have you seen the golden eagles on the tower? And they said, no, but we see what they left behind.
Yeah, they're popular, not just for people.
Yeah. So the wildlife has been really amazing to watch.
So the network has been very successful. I know at times people sometimes ask about the logos that are on the monitor. You have regional partnerships. Is that what helps to build out the network?
Yes. So here we've built the California Village. We have Pacific Gas and Electric. We have Southern California Edison. We have SDG&E. We have Sonoma Water. We have one of our biggest sponsors and head of this is Cal Fire. And so we've built and we work with counties and we work with wireless internet service providers. So if you go to our partnership page, we've brought in everybody because it's going to take a village to keep us safe.